So at the top of your paper, Chapter 1 Review, Part 1. For Lesson 1-1, 1-2, and 1-3, you're only focusing on the odds because we just took a quiz of that stuff that could be good. But Section 1-4, we're going to do all of those, okay? And that's what I really wanted to talk about in today's class. So if you could, at the top of your paper, we're going to do 1-4 evens, and then it's your responsibility to finish up the odds, okay? So you'll, if you want to even make your sections 1-1 and then do those evens in 1-2 and 1-3, 1-4, the one we do together, if you want at the top of your page, I don't care. It doesn't have to be necessarily in order. Let's do the even ones right now together, okay? Okay, so let me kind of...
So we got to do the even and odds of
1-4, we're going to do all the section 1-4. It's just 34 to 38, but we're going to do 3 of them together. So you only have 2 left to do after we're done with that. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's like you're doing the odds on your own, but okay. So let's take a look at number 34. Now, the reason I wanted to do the section 1-4 is because of the fact that it's been a while since we did that, and we haven't studied absolute value equations anymore. We did the notes and then some homework. Let's start with 34. So for an absolute value equation, the thing to remember is that we want 2 cases. So remember that our first case, I think of as the positive case. You just take off the absolute values and write down your equation. So that's where it's equal to positive 12. And then case 2 is the negative case. We want to write down the left side without our absolute value, but because it's a distance, the case 1 is when it's equal to a positive 12. Case 2 would be when it equals on the opposite side, when it's equal to a negative 12. So for every single one of the 1-4 section, you should get 2 answers, okay? So every single problem for 34 through 38, you should do it twice because a positive case and a negative case. Now let's solve them. For case 1, we would subtract 5, and we would get that r is equal to 7. Now here's what's different. On case 2, when we subtract 5, we get that r is equal to negative 17. Okay, so that's the main difference. You get a positive answer and a negative answer. It is really important that you check it back in the original for these, so I do want to see the check. If we put positive 7, now I'm going to check it up in that top version, the original how it was written. Remember, an absolute value's job is to make something positive because it's representing a distance. So if I put in 7 plus 5 into our absolute value, I get a 12, which is equal to 12. So bam, that one works. Now you have to check the negative 17 because sometimes the negatives can mess things up. Let's plug that one in. So we get the absolute value of negative 17 plus 5. Does that equal 12? Well, that's the absolute value of negative 12. And when we do the absolute value of that final answer, it makes it positive. So 12 does equal 12. Bam, that one works. Now, sometimes one case works and one doesn't. Sometimes they both work. Sometimes neither of them works. Just depends upon the situation. So for problems 34 through 38, you have to have 2 cases. Okay. Are there any questions about 34 before we move on to 36? We good so far? Okay, now let's jump, please, to 36. What's interesting about 36, we had done one of these in our 1-4 notes. Can an absolute value equal a negative number? No. So you can immediately cross it out and say no solution. This is saying that a positive is equal to a negative. No, it's not. And so that's why it's really important as you do these problems that you isolate the absolute value by, you get that by itself, okay? Now I know I said that we were going to do the odds together, the evens together. 37, I'm not going to do it completely, but I want to help you set up the 2 cases, okay? So everybody good for 34 and 36? Okay, before we jump to 38, I just want to help you set up 37. It's your responsibility to finish it. So our absolute value of b plus 5 equals 2b minus 9. Now, when you have a variable on the inside of the absolute values and a variable on the outside of the absolute values, it is totally essential that you check both cases when you're done, okay? So let's talk about our case 1. Case 1, you just drop away the absolute values and write it down. You don't change anything. So that would just be b plus 5 equals 2b minus 9. See what I did? I dropped off the absolute values and just wrote the whole thing down. And now that just becomes an equation. It's like we had on the quiz. It's just an equation. Solve it. But don't forget to check them. Okay? That's case 1. Let's look at case 2. Case 2. We drop away the absolute values on the left side, so it's just b plus 5 again. But here's the thing we have to do. Think about what the opposite of that expression is. That's why we talked about expressions and how you multiply them by -1 and how you change it. We have to change the sign of everything on that side. Everything. So the 2b is going to become negative 2b. The negative 9 is going to become positive 9. That's your two cases. You're going to solve each one like you do a normal equation. No special rules, just solve them. But remember, please, to check your work and plug it back into the original. Do we have any questions about 37? Okay. Now I'd like to do 38, and then you have all class period. Your goal is to get sections 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and 1-4 finished by the end of class. And you should, without a problem. Okay, and then I can help you if you get stuck on any. Let's take a look at 38. Marco's cutting a ribbon for a craft project. Each ribbon needs to be 3/4 of a yard long. If each piece is always within plus or minus 1/16, how long are the shortest and the longest pieces of ribbon? The setup is x minus our ideal is equal to our error. Okay, so this is your ideal. In this case, we want it to be 3/4 of a yard. And this is our plus or minus. It's our error. In this case, 1/16. So how much wiggle room do we have to be a little bit off when we're cutting? Okay. So it would be the absolute value of x minus 3/4 equals 1/16. Okay. So that would be your setup. Once you get that, just like problem 36 and 37 for 38, you're going to set up your two cases. Can somebody tell me what's our first case? What's our first case? Yes, Lily.
X minus 3/4.
Yep, just drop away those absolute values. Can somebody share with me what the second case is? What's our second case? Anybody want to share the second case? Yes, what's our second case?
X minus 3/4 equals negative 1/16.
You got it. Just take that 1/16 to make it a negative, and please then finish 38 for me. Okay? So all class period, you're just doing the odds, sections 1-1 to 1-4. Make sure you're labeling your numbers as you go. Make sure if you're stuck on any, let me know, because we need to be able to make sure we understand how these work. I'll put the answers on maybe on that back board there so you have them. So that is what we're doing today. Tomorrow we're taking this new section. We got to move on. So let's make sure 1 through 1-4 you're ready. Okay? So there you go.